Hey everyone, Stephen Molesky here. So today I'm going to do men's grooming. Some of you requested that I show you what I do to my clients because not everyone knows how to handle a man's skin different than a woman's skin. I do my makeup very similar to how I do my male clients because men, you don't want to look over made up. You just want to correct, and a lot of it has to do with skincare and skin prep. So stay tuned and I'm going to show you what I do. So first off, before anything, I check my client's eyes. I always can tell if someone's tired. A lot of my actors, they're catching flights and work long hours, so I use eye drops. These are Roto eyes. I put them in first because basically if it makes a mess, you don't have to clean up. So alright, so that is, I let those sit in and do their job. They turn your eyes bright red at first, but that doesn't matter. So what I'm going to start off first with is beard oil. If the guy has, or I have a beard, I can sometimes have dandruff and my beard can get really dry. So before I do everything else, I put the oils on my beard so that it doesn't mess with the makeup I do later. So I'm going to use this BAXTER's beard oil. It's just a few drops. And it just keeps the beard shiny and in place. I already cleaned up my beard a little bit. I don't like a perfectly groomed beard, but if my clients need that, I ask them. Most of my clients, they come with their own grooming, but if need be, you can clean up the edges and you do all that beforehand. All right, so then prepping the skin. So I do my lips first because I want them to be hydrated, and later on I don't want them to be shiny. This is the COSMEDIX Lip Enhance, and it's like a lip mask. And so it's got a little bit of peppermint, so it's gonna help with the plumping them. But like I said, you can see it's a little shiny. I wouldn't want that for my clients for when they're on camera, but I do in the very beginning, so it has the hydrating effect, but not the glossiness later on. All right, then skincare is key. I do a lot of vitamin C on my male clients and a lot of vitamin C on myself, as you've seen if you've looked at previous videos. I love this Sunday Riley. This is the brightening serum, the vitamin C. I use a little bit, and what it's going to do is it's going to stimulate your skin. It's going to brighten your skin. It's also going to turn me a little pink because it gets the blood going. Plus, I have that skin that if I touch it, it turns red. But this is just going to kind of brighten. You're also going to see that I have a lot of psoriasis. It's getting to be winter. My skin goes and like kind of freaks out as it gets drier and the air and the heat comes on. So all of that we will cover up later. All right, so rub that into the skin. Then I'm going to do some of this vitamin C hydration cream by Sunday Riley. It is probably one of my favorite moisturizers, especially for myself. It just hydrates and goes all over the face. And it's really good by itself, but also it's good at plumping. So if you have fine lines, all that little bit helps the final look, so it's nice and hydrated. All right, so then two more skincare things. So I do a little bit of under eye. This is the autocorrect by Sunday Riley. I prefer this for myself. It has a little bit of a brightening, and also kind of like what it says, autocorrect underneath the eyes. It gives a little bit of illumination and brightening, and just rub that really in to the skin. And I tap it in. You want to make sure that the skincare absorbs in. You don't want to do it put on too much because your skin's only going to absorb so much at one time. The other thing with this autocorrect, it takes a second to like make the skin react, and some clients, if they have sensitive skin, this might not be the best thing for them because it definitely has a tingle factor, but I really like it. No matter what I do, have large pores on the end of my nose, as most guys do. So I use a little bit of primer for this. This is the Makeup Revolution Pore Blur. It's a little bit of a tinted primer. Looks kind of like that. And I just place it all over my nose. And then blending it out. And that just kind of does what it says. It blurs and softens that texture. I'm gonna put a little bit over where I have that psoriasis because it'll help there. See how it just kind of softens everything. So now for makeup, once you know that this is all absorbed in, you notice the lips are all not shiny anymore, everything's absorbed in. I'm gonna take old school. I use, it really depends on the skin. My skin has a lot of pink, warm tones, and so if I go anything with a yellow undertone, it's gonna look jaundice or really makeup-y. What works for me is the MAC Studio concealer, the full coverage foundation concealer. I would use a brush if I was working on a client. I'm gonna use my finger. This is my personal concealer. And what I do is I just kind of press in the areas that I would need coverage. I don't go up and underneath the eyes because you don't wanna have it be too heavy. But this is gonna just kind of use it like a concealer slash highlighter. And I place it everywhere I need correction. And a little bit through the center of my eyes, because I take into account that there's gonna be lighting. This is for my clients, grooming, and if they're on camera, I want where I conceal to make them the lights hit it and to deflect and make them look a little bit younger. So I place it and kind of let it set up. And go out here, and I just keep on tapping it in, and then just blending it. And then I will take, this is one of my, I like this brush. This is a Buff and Blend by NUDESTIX, and I'll just go in and kind of press it. And what I like about this, some people will use a sponge. A sponge is going to pull it off. This is really just going to kind of work the product into the skin and just kind of bring it around the eye. And if you notice, it gives it more of a foundation coverage, but it's still going to keep it looking like my natural skin. And it has a little bit of a brightening. And then I just buff it out. Since I have lines on my forehead, I want to make sure that I don't put too much up there, and it's just buffed off just to kind of tone down a little bit of the redness. And then the key is, if you're going to put makeup on your face, you need to make sure you get the ears. So I just kind of put a little bit on the outside of the ears, and this is just going to keep it from, as you can see, as I'm talking and your blood gets going, sometimes I can pull more red and more warmth. Most guys do that, and you sometimes will see them have like their face is different than their ears or their neck. I don't want to pull it all the way down this way because I have my beard, but I want to make sure that I tone down my ears, and then right behind my ears, and just kind of softening all that. All right, before I set everything, I don't do it on everybody. Sometimes curling your lashes is a really good idea. I do this because in case I tear up, it won't mess up the under eye. So, all right, there we have it. So, you don't want to put too much concealer underneath the eyes, because on guys especially, it looks really fake. And less is more. So then I'm going to take a little bit. This is one thing I do on guys, or do it on myself, is a little bit of powder. I take this Soft Focus, it's a NARS powder. This is Eden, it's like a skin tone, and I'm gonna use a ESUM, it's an eyeshadow brush, but it's the G34, and I'm just gonna place a little bit right on the inside of the eye. And what this is gonna do is gonna help a little bit more with that correction underneath the eyes without it going too heavy. And I always do the nose. Alright, now that's pretty much all the coverage that I do. If I'm feeling like I want a little bit of sculpting, or if I'm gonna be, if the client is gonna be on camera and they have good features and they can carry it off, I use a little bit of bronzer. This is the Seaside bronzer by NARS, and this is the ESUM X52. I just take a little bit of the bronzer and I place it underneath my cheek, and it's kind of like warms up my face. It gives a little bit more, enhances my cheekbone. So whenever I'm on camera, it gives more of that structure, but it doesn't, like with a woman, you want to bring out their cheekbones and have high cheekbones. I bring it under the cheek and around the cheek so that it's more square. And then I'll take the bronzer and go down my neck. And if I need be, I'll do my neck or the client's neck. But usually less is more. A little bit across the nose. All right. Now, what I also do is I don't use a sponge because it'll take off the makeup, but I like to dry brush, and this is the Scott Barnes 68 brush, and it's like the 2 different length fibers, and I just kind of run this across, especially where I don't want a lot of coverage. And so I'll go back in and just kind of stipple and drag, and what it does is, through the beard, it softens everything so that it doesn't have a made up look, and just go in and give it a nice finish. One last thing, so because I use powders and creams, I want to make sure that I don't have any powders on my face or my or any powders on my hairs. So I'm going to take a little bit of this Benefit brow gel and go through my brows. Just pushing them upwards. So I don't want them to be too sculpted. And just kind of press them in place. And then I just take my fingers and go across my beard. I mean, I can, if I was doing somebody that needed filling in the beard, there's all different things that you can do for that. But I think on camera sometimes if it's too perfect, it looks too fake. So this is pretty much what I do. Oh, one last thing. So after you put all the makeup on, you want to make sure that most men don't want to have a glow, and so you want everything to stay looking like skin and matte, or like skin like hydration. So this is the Face ATELIER Ultra Matte Spray. What I do, especially this is the only one I really use on guys, is that I spray it and just let it set the makeup. And what it's going to do is it's going to set it, make all the powders look seamless. You're going to keep the makeup in place and not looking like makeup. So that's pretty much, I'll sit there and let the makeup kind of sit. And if I see that it's kind of building up anywhere, like a little bit right here, I'll sometimes take, I have a little tiny brush that's a Ben Nye dual fiber brush. It's the same as like the Scott Barnes, but only smaller. And I'll kind of hit the areas that might have caking or creasing. And just making sure that's super seamless. So that's it. That's pretty much how I do all my men's grooming. That's the basics. You can always, according to the client or yourself or your wants, you can do more or less, but less is always more with guys. So with that, I hope you like this. If you like what you saw, like you know the drill, like, comment, share, do all of that, and I will see you again next time for another video.